Settle in as we travel back to a stormy outpost, where secrets arrive by train and love is forged in danger. Prospect City, Washington Territory. Late summer 1875. Susanna Bennett stepped off the westbound train with one trunk, a deed to a mudlot behind the assay office, and a secret that could get her killed before sunset. The platform smelled like coal smoke and salt wind. Storm clouds pressed low over the timber hills. She was 32, dark auburn hair, pinned tight, gray travel dress dusty from 3 days in a rattling car. Her hands did not shake when she lifted the trunk. They had not shaken in 2 years. Not since the night she walked away from everything. The station master pointed toward a row of false front buildings. "Your property is past the Mercantile, miss. Not much to it." She thanked him and started walking. The mudlot was exactly as the lawyer described. 15 feet wide, backed against a hillside, flanked by an assay office on one side and a boarding stable on the other. Enough room for a laundry if she worked fast. Enough room to disappear if she kept her head down. She set the trunk on a flat rock and opened it. Inside, folded between 2 dresses, was the small Colt revolver she had carried since leaving Missouri. She checked the cylinder. Loaded. She slid it into her skirt pocket and closed the trunk. A man watched from across the street. Tall, broad shoulders, dark brown hair under a flat-brimmed hat, weathered tan coat over rough trousers. He leaned against a post outside the land office, arms crossed, studying her the way a card sharp studies a mark. She met his eyes for 1 second, then looked away. He crossed the street. His boots made soft sounds in the dirt. Up close, his face was hard-planed, sun-scorched, eyes pale gray like winter ice. He stopped 3 feet away and tipped his hat. "Miss Bennett." She kept her face blank. "You know my name." He smiled, but it did not reach his eyes. "Small town. Word travels. I am Graham Pierce. I captain a riverboat. Used to, anyway. River dried up last spring. Now I am in the land business." She waited. He glanced at the lot. "This is a poor place for a laundry. No water close. Hillside floods when it rains. I can offer you $200 for the deed. Cash today." She let the silence stretch. Then she said,
"I did not come 1,500 miles to sell."
His jaw tightened.
"You will regret that."
He turned and walked back toward the land office. Susanna watched him go. Her heart beat steady. She had heard threats before. The first night, she slept in the boarding stable with the trunk beside her and the Colt under her folded shawl. The stable boy brought her a tin cup of coffee at dawn. She paid him a nickel and asked where she could hire a carpenter. He pointed toward a shop near the telegraph office. She found the carpenter and paid him $10 to frame a small building on her lot. Walls, roof, door, window. He promised 3 days. She spent the morning at the Mercantile buying soap, lye, a wash tub, rope for a line. The clerk, a thin man with wire spectacles, wrapped her purchases in brown paper.
"You are the new laundry lady."
She nodded.
"Mr. Calhoun owns the land office. He does not like surprises."
She paid and left. Back at the lot, the carpenter was already measuring. 2 men stood watching from the stable door. One was Graham Pierce. The other was older, silver-haired, wearing a black suit too fine for a frontier town. The older man stepped forward. His smile was warm but his eyes were cold.
Miss Bennett. Alistair Calhoun. I manage the mine and most of the property hereabouts. Mr. Pierce tells me you declined his offer.
Susanna set down her parcels.
I did.
That is unfortunate. This lot sits on a route the railroad wants for a spur line. I have been buying parcels to consolidate the corridor. Your refusal complicates matters.
Then, the railroad can negotiate with me directly.
Calhoun's smile did not waver.
The railroad does not negotiate with individuals. They negotiate with me. I suggest you reconsider Mr. Pierce's offer. It is generous.
She met his eyes.
I am not selling.
Calhoun glanced at Pierce, then back at her.
I see. Well. Welcome to Prospect City, Miss Bennett. I hope you find it hospitable.
He walked away. Pierce lingered. His expression was unreadable.
You just made an enemy.
I have had worse.
He studied her for a long moment, then left. The carpenter finished the frame in 2 days. Susanna hung a sign, Bennett Laundry. Open Monday. She spent Sunday scrubbing the floor and setting up the tub. That evening, Graham Pierce came back. He stood in the doorway, hat in hand.
I need to talk to you. Not here.
She did not move.
Say what you came to say.
Calhoun is planning something. I do not know what. But you need to leave.
Why do you care?
He looked at the floor.
Because I was supposed to scare you off. That is why he sent me. But I am done working for him.
Why?
Because I saw your deed. It is legitimate. And because Calhoun has a file on you.
Her blood went cold.
What kind of file?
I do not know. But he keeps records on everyone he wants to control. I have seen them. If you have a secret, he knows it.
She stepped back. Her hand found the Colt in her pocket.
Get out.
I am trying to help you.
You work for him.
Not anymore. I quit this morning.
She did not lower the gun.
Why should I believe you?
Because if I still worked for him, you would already be in his private jail.
She stared at him.
He has a jail?
In the mine. He uses it for people who cross him. Calls it protective custody. Nobody asks questions.
She let go of the Colt. Her hand was shaking now.
What does he want?
Your land. And whatever you are hiding.
She turned away. Her voice was barely a whisper.
I am not hiding anything.
Then, you have nothing to worry about.
He left. She locked the door and sat on the floor with the Colt in her lap until dawn. Monday morning, 3 miners brought her laundry. She washed and pressed it, hung it on the line. By noon, word had spread. More customers came. She worked until her hands were raw. Tuesday, the stagecoach driver brought shirts. Wednesday, the saloon owner brought tablecloths. Thursday, Graham Pierce came back with a bundle of clothes and a folded paper. He set them on the counter.
These need washing. And you need to see this.
He unfolded the paper. It was a wanted poster. The face staring back was Graham Pierce. Same eyes, same jaw, same hard-planed features. But the name was different. Caleb Mercer, wanted for bank robbery in Oregon. $500 reward. She looked up at him.
Is this you?
No, but it could be my twin. I have never been to Oregon. I have never robbed a bank. But Calhoun showed this to the sheriff yesterday. He told him, I am Caleb Mercer.
Why would he lie?
Because if the sheriff arrests me, Calhoun can say I coerced you into selling. He gets your land, and I hang for a crime I did not commit.
She stared at the poster.
This is insane.
This is Calhoun. He forges deeds. He files false claims. He has dossiers on half the town. And now he is using a wanted poster to frame me.
What do you want from me?
Help me prove I am not Mercer. And I will help you keep your land.
She looked at him. His eyes were steady, desperate, but honest. She folded the poster and handed it back.
How do we prove it?
Mercer was arrested in Portland 2 years ago. The records are in the courthouse. If I can get a copy, it will show he is still in prison.
And if Calhoun has already bribed the courthouse?
Then we go to Portland ourselves.
She laughed bitterly.
I cannot leave. If I do, Calhoun will take my land.
If you stay, he will take it anyway. Or worse.
She closed her eyes. She thought of the file Calhoun kept. The secret she had carried for 2 years. The reason she had left Missouri. The reason she could never go back.
I will help you. But I need something from you first.
Name it.
If Calhoun has a file on me, I need to see it.
That is impossible. He keeps them locked in his office.
Then, we break in.
Pierce stared at her. Then he smiled. It was the first real smile she had seen from him.
You are either very brave or very foolish.
Both. They waited until midnight. The town was dark except for the saloon. Calhoun's office was on the second floor of the land office, above the records room. Pierce had a key to the back door. He had stolen it before he quit. They climbed the stairs in silence. The office door was locked. Pierce pulled a thin knife from his boot and worked the latch. It clicked open. Inside, the room smelled like cigars and ink. A desk sat by the window. A filing cabinet stood against the wall. Pierce lit a match.
We have 5 minutes. Maybe less.
Susanna opened the cabinet. The files were alphabetized. She found hers under B. Inside were 3 pages. The first was a copy of her deed. The second was a telegram from Missouri. The third was a newspaper clipping. Her hands shook as she read it. The headline said, "Woman sought in husband's death." The article described a fire in a boarding house. 1 man dead. Wife missing. Name, Susanna Bennett. She folded the pages and slipped them into her pocket. Pierce was reading another file. His face was pale.
He has records on everyone. The sheriff, the judge, the telegraph operator. He knows every secret in this town.
Susanna pulled open another drawer. Inside was a leather-bound ledger. She opened it. The pages were filled with names, dates, amounts, bribes, forged deeds, false claims, payoffs to officials, evidence of everything Calhoun had done.
We need to take this.
If we take it, he will know we were here.
He already knows. We might as well take the proof.
Pierce nodded. He closed the ledger and tucked it under his coat. They locked the door and left the way they came. Outside, the wind had picked up. Lightning flickered on the horizon. They walked back to the laundry in silence. Inside, Pierce set the ledger on the counter.
This is enough to hang him. If we can get it to the territorial marshal.
Calhoun owns the sheriff. He probably owns the marshal too.
Then we take it to Portland, to the federal court.
Susanna pulled the pages from her pocket and laid them on the counter.
Before we go anywhere, you need to read this.
He read in silence. When he finished, he looked at her.
Did you kill him?
Yes,
Why?
because he was going to kill me. He was drunk. He knocked over a lamp. The fire started. I ran. I did not look back.
That is self-defense.
Not in Missouri. Not for a woman.
Then, we clear both our names. Together.
She met his eyes.
Why are you doing this?
Because I know what it is like to run. I left the river because I could not pay my debts. I came here to start over, and Calhoun promised me a fresh start if I did his dirty work. But I am done running, and I am done working for men like him.
She reached across the counter and took his hand.
Thank you.
He squeezed her hand.
We leave at dawn. Pack light. They did not make it to dawn. At 3 in the morning, someone pounded on the laundry door. Susanna woke with the Colt in her hand. Pierce was already on his feet. Do not open it.
The pounding stopped. A voice called through the door.
Miss Bennett, this is Sheriff Dawes. I need you to come out.
Pierce swore under his breath.
Calhoun sent him.
What do we do?
We run.
He grabbed the ledger and her trunk. They slipped out the back window and into the alley. The storm had broken. Rain hammered the rooftops. Lightning split the sky. They ran toward the stable. Behind them, the sheriff kicked in the laundry door. Shouts echoed through the rain. Pierce yanked open the stable door. 2 horses stood in the stalls. He saddled them in seconds.
Can you ride?
Yes.
They mounted and rode out into the storm. The sheriff fired twice. The bullets went wide. They galloped east, away from town, toward the timber hills. The rain was so thick Susanna could barely see. Pierce led them onto a narrow trail that climbed into the trees. They rode for an hour, maybe more. The horses were heaving. Finally, Pierce stopped.
We rest here.
They dismounted under a massive pine. The rain drummed on the branches above. Susanna was soaked through. Her teeth chattered. Pierce pulled a blanket from his saddlebag and wrapped it around her shoulders.
We cannot go back.
I know.
Calhoun will take your land.
I know.
I am sorry.
It is not your fault.
He looked at her. Rain dripped from his hat brim.
Yes, it is. I came to your lot to scare you. I took Calhoun's money. I was going to push you out.
But you did not.
Because you looked me in the eye and did not flinch. Because you were alone and you did not run. Because I saw something in you that I thought I had lost.
She stared at him.
What?
Courage.
She laughed. It sounded bitter.
I am not courageous. I am a fugitive.
You are a survivor. And you are the first person in 2 years who made me want to be better.
She reached up and touched his face. Her hand was cold.
We are a pair of fools.
Yes, we are.
He kissed her. It was slow, deliberate, like sealing a pact. When he pulled back, His eyes were soft.
We finish this. Together.
How?
We take the ledger to Portland. We clear our names. Then we come back and take everything from Calhoun.
And if we fail?
Then we keep running. But at least we run together.
She kissed him again. This time, it was not slow. It was fierce, desperate, full of everything they could not say. When they broke apart, the storm was easing. The first gray light of dawn touched the trees. They reached Portland in 4 days. The city was bigger than Prospect City, louder, full of strangers. They sold 1 horse for cash and took a room in a boarding house near the courthouse. Pierce went to the records office. Susanna waited in the room with the ledger and the Colt. He came back 2 hours later with a folder.
Caleb Mercer is in prison. He was arrested in 1873. He is serving 10 years.
Can you prove it?
I have a signed affidavit from the warden. And a photograph.
He pulled out a tintype. The man in the picture looked like Pierce, but his eyes were different. Colder. Meaner.
This will work.
If the judge believes it.
They went to the federal courthouse the next morning. The clerk took the ledger and the affidavit and told them to wait. They sat on a bench in the hallway for 3 hours. Finally, a man in a black robe came out.
Miss Bennett. Mr. Pierce. I am Judge Harlan. Come with me.
They followed him into a small office. He sat behind a desk and opened the ledger. He read in silence for 10 minutes. Then he looked up.
This is damning evidence. If it is authentic, it is. Your Honor, how did you obtain it?
Pierce hesitated. Susanna answered.
We stole it. From Alistair Calhoun's office in Prospect City.
That makes it inadmissible in some jurisdictions, but not this one. I will issue a warrant for Mr. Calhoun's arrest, and I will send a marshal to verify these claims. What about the wanted poster? I am not Caleb Mercer. I can see that. I will issue a letter, clearing your name. But understand this. If you return to Prospect City before the marshal arrives, Calhoun will kill you both.
We are going back.
Then you are fools. Yes, Your Honor. They left Portland that afternoon. The marshal promised to follow within a week. They bought 2 fresh horses and supplies. The ride back took 3 days. They camped in the hills and shared a blanket. On the second night, Pierce told her about the river. How he had captained a paddleboat for 5 years. How the drought dried up the channel and stranded him inland. How he had lost everything and come west looking for work. I thought Calhoun was my way out. Turns out, he was just another trap.
Susanna told him about Missouri. About the husband who drank and hit her. About the night he came home with a bottle and a knife. About the lamp she knocked over when she ran. About the fire that took him and everything she owned.
I did not mean to kill him. But I am not sorry. He is dead.
You should not be.
They reached Prospect City on the 3rd day. The town looked the same. But Calhoun's office was dark. The land office was closed. They rode to the laundry. The door hung open. The inside was wrecked. The tub was overturned. The clothes were scattered. A sign hung on the wall. Property of Calhoun Mining Company. Pierce swore.
He took it.
He can take the building. He cannot take the deed. I have it in my pocket.
He will forge a new one.
Not if the marshal gets here first.
They left the horses and walked to the sheriff's office. Dawes was at his desk. He looked up, startled.
You are supposed to be in jail. We were never arrested. Calhoun said you ran, said you stole files.
Pierce set the judge's letter on the desk.
Read this.
Dawes read slowly. His face went pale.
This says Calhoun is under investigation. It also says I am not Caleb Mercer, and that Miss Bennett acted in self-defense. If this is true, then I have been working for a criminal.
You have?
Where is he now?
Dawes stood.
At the mine. He moved his office there 2 days ago. Said he had business to finish. What kind of business? I do not know. But he took 3 men with him. Armed.
Pierce looked at Susanna.
We need to go.
I am coming with you.
No. It is too dangerous.
It is my fight.
Susanna.
Do not argue.
Dawes pulled a shotgun from the rack.
I am coming too. If Calhoun is dirty, I want to be there when he goes down. The mine was 2 miles outside town. The entrance was a timber-framed tunnel cut into the hillside. 2 guards stood outside. Dawes showed his badge. I need to see Calhoun. He is not seeing anyone. This is official business. I said no.
Pierce pulled his revolver.
Then step aside.
The guards went for their guns. Pierce fired once. The shot echoed like thunder. One guard dropped. The other raised his hands.
Do not shoot.
Dawes took his gun and tied him to a post.
Where is Calhoun? Inside. Main shaft. He has 2 men with him. And a prisoner.
Who?
Some miner who tried to quit. Calhoun locked him up last week.
They entered the tunnel. It was dark, lit only by lanterns hung on beams. The air smelled like damp rock and gunpowder. Their footsteps echoed. At the end of the main shaft, a door stood ajar. Lamplight spilled through. Voices came from inside. Calhoun's voice. Smooth, calm, deadly.
Bring him out. I want this finished before the marshal arrives.
Pierce kicked the door open. Calhoun stood in the center of a small room. 2 men flanked him, rifles raised. A third man, thin and bruised, knelt on the floor with his hands tied. Calhoun looked at Pierce and smiled.
Mr. Pierce, I wondered when you would show up. And Miss Bennett. How industrious.
Pierce aimed his revolver at Calhoun's chest.
It is over. The federal court has your ledger. The marshal is on his way. The marshal is 3 days out. I can be gone in 3 hours.
Not with a bullet in your chest.
Calhoun's smile widened.
You are not a killer, Miss Bennett.
Yes, I am.
She pulled the Colt and fired. The shot hit the floor between Calhoun's feet. He jumped back. His men raised their rifles. Pierce fired twice. Both men dropped. Dawes stepped in with the shotgun.
On the ground. Now.
Calhoun knelt slowly. His face was pale, but his voice stayed calm.
You are making a mistake. I have friends. Powerful friends. Not anymore.
Dawes cuffed him. Pierce cut the miner's ropes.
Can you walk? Yes. Thank you.
They led Calhoun out of the mine. Outside, the storm clouds were breaking. Sunlight slanted through the gaps. The air smelled clean. They locked Calhoun in the sheriff's jail. Dawes promised to hold him until the marshal arrived. Pierce and Susanna walked back to the laundry. The building was still wrecked, but the land was theirs. She pulled the deed from her pocket and unfolded it.
We won.
We did.
He put his arm around her.
What do we do now?
We rebuild.
Here?
Here.
Together? I seen the mourned Randant recting. One Sadra said. They were a place at the time. The mourn the wind stress but that for year and Lutch coins. There was enough with a lost lod's back. A singular stress. A strime and a teaching then ties. Our Father. I called it tire, but my finally was petty for a Christ it's wetting. I sengalios.
Together.
He kissed her. The sun was setting. The storm was gone. The sky was clear and gold. The marshal arrived 6 days later. He took Calhoun to Portland in chains. Dawes resigned and left town. The railroad survey team came through and confirmed the route. Susanna's land was directly in the path. The company offered to buy it at a fair price. She refused. She wanted to stay. Pierce helped her hire carpenters. They rebuilt the laundry in 3 weeks. They added a second room for storage and a small office. The new sign read Bennett and Pierce Laundry Services. People started coming back. Business picked up. Susanna worked the front. Pierce managed deliveries and collections. They worked well together. At night, they sat on the porch and talked about the future.
Do you miss the river?
Sometimes. But this is better.
Why?
Because you are here.
She smiled.
You are getting soft.
Maybe.
He kissed her hand. The wanted poster stayed pinned to the wall inside. Pierce looked at it sometimes. The resemblance was still there. But the name was wrong. The crimes were wrong. The man in the drawing was someone else. Susanna caught him looking one morning.
Still thinking about it?
A little.
It does not matter anymore. Everyone knows the truth.
I know. But it cost us.
It cost Calhoun more.
True.
She touched his face.
You are a good man, Graham Pierce.
I am trying.
The railroad began building in September. The crews worked fast. By October, the line reached Prospect City. The first train arrived on a cold morning. Susanna and Pierce stood on the platform and watched it pull in. The whistle echoed across the bay. People cheered.
This is what he wanted.
Yes.
But he lost.
We won.
She squeezed his hand. The train hissed and stopped. Passengers stepped off. Some stayed. Some moved on. Prospect City was growing. The laundry stayed busy. Pierce hired 2 helpers. Susanna trained them. They expanded the service to include mending and tailoring. She was good with a needle. Pierce handled the books. They saved money. They talked about buying more land. Maybe building a house. Something bigger. Something with a view of the bay. One Saturday night, Pierce took her to the hotel for dinner. It was the first time they had eaten out together. The dining room was crowded. People nodded as they passed. Susanna wore a new dress. Dark blue with white trim. Pierce wore his best coat. They sat by the window. The bay was calm. The moon was rising.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
I mean it.
I know.
They ordered steak and potatoes. The food was good. They talked about the business, about the town, about the future. Pierce reached across the table and took her hand.
Susanna,
Yes?
I want to ask you something.
Ask.
Will you marry me?
She stared at him. Her eyes filled with tears.
Yes.
Yes? She and the warned rundant rekting, one souter said, they were place at the time. The warned the wind stas but that we year and lut coims. Or yes, with a lost lots mark Pogan. Yes, the waist bone frest in the teaching nine ties. The head had barred fire. They called it fire. The wind finally was pay for a Christ its walking.
Yes.
He stood and pulled her up. He kissed her in front of everyone. The room erupted in applause. People came over to congratulate them. Pierce bought a round of drinks for the house. They stayed until midnight. Then they walked home under the stars. They set the date for November. The church was available. The minister agreed to perform the ceremony. Susanna sent a letter to her sister in Ohio. Pierce had no family left. He invited a few friends from the river. Most could not come. It did not matter. The town adopted them. Women helped Susanna plan. Men helped Pierce prepare. The laundry stayed open until the day before the wedding. Then they closed for 3 days. Pierce moved his things into the room behind the laundry. They would live there until the house was built. Susanna cleaned and rearranged. She hung curtains. She bought a new quilt. She made the space theirs. The morning of the wedding was cold and clear. Susanna dressed in the back room. Her dress was simple. White cotton with lace at the collar and cuffs. She pinned her hair up and added a small veil. Pierce waited at the church. He wore a new suit, black with a white shirt. His hands shook a little. The minister smiled.
Nervous? A little. That is normal.
The church filled. People came from all over. The miners, the merchants, the farmers, even the new sheriff. Susanna walked down the aisle alone. She had no one to give her away. She did not need anyone. She walked with her head high. Pierce watched her come. His heart pounded. She was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. They stood together at the altar. The minister opened his book.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to join this man and this woman in holy matrimony.
He spoke the words. Pierce and Susanna repeated them. They promised to love and honor, to cherish and protect, to stay together in sickness and health, until death parted them. Pierce slipped a gold ring on her finger. She had bought it with money from the laundry. It fit perfectly.
I now pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Pierce kissed her. The church erupted in cheers. They walked out together. The sun was bright. The air was cold and sweet. People threw rice. Someone fired a gun in the air. Pierce laughed. Susanna cried. They stood on the church steps and waved. They held a small reception at the hotel. Cake and coffee, music and dancing. Pierce danced with Susanna. He was not very good. She laughed and helped him. They danced until the sun set. Then they walked home. The street was quiet. The stars were out. Pierce carried her across the threshold. She kissed him.
I love you.
I love you too.
They closed the door. The laundry was dark. The stove was warm. The bed was ready. They stood together in the middle of the room. Pierce touched her face.
Are you happy?
Yes. Are you?
Yes.
He kissed her. She kissed him back. They were together. They were safe. They were home. The next morning, they woke early. Susanna made coffee. Pierce started the fire. They ate bread and jam. Then they dressed and opened the laundry. Business as usual. But everything was different. They worked side by side. They laughed. They touched hands when no one was looking. At noon, they closed for lunch. They sat on the porch and watched the bay. A ship was coming in. The railroad whistle blew. The town was alive.
This is a good life.
It is.
I am glad you stayed.
I am glad you let me.
She leaned against him. He put his arm around her. They sat in the sun and watched the world move. Together. The deed was framed and hung on the wall inside. Bennett and Pierce. The land was theirs. The business was theirs. The future was theirs. They had fought for it. They had won, and they would keep fighting. Together. Always. That Sunday, they went to church. They sat in the front pew. The minister smiled at them. After the service, people gathered outside. They talked and laughed. Children played. The sun was warm. Pierce and Susanna stood in the church doorway. Someone brought out the deed and a pen. They had decided to sign it together, to make it official. Both names, equal owners. Pierce signed first. Then Susanna. Their hands touched. The ink was still wet.
It is done.
It is.
No going back.
No going back.
She looked up at him.
I would not want to.
Neither would I.
He kissed her. The crowd cheered. Someone played a fiddle. People started dancing. Pierce took Susanna's hand and spun her around. She laughed. The music played. The sun shone. The storm was over. The land was theirs. The future was bright. They were together. They were in love. They were home. Colorized late 1800s American West photograph. Natural light, gentle contrast, slightly soft focus, subtle film grain, faint dust/scratches, slight vignetting, no text, no watermark. Late morning, white wooden church exterior, open doorway, sunlight streaming in, churchgoers visible in background. A young woman in her 30s with dark auburn hair and a bun, Sunday dress, stands beside a young man in his 30s with dark brown hair, Sunday suit. They hold a signed deed between them, both hands on the paper, smiling at each other in the church doorway. Minimal background clutter. Focus on the couple and the signed deed. //P. The following weeks brought change. The railroad sent a new surveyor. He walked the town with a map and a theodolite. Pierce showed him the deed. The surveyor nodded and made notes. The route would shift south. Susanna's land was safe. The laundry reopened. She hired 2 women from town to help with the washing. Business grew. Ships came in weekly now. Sailors brought their clothes. Miners brought their work shirts. The copper boiler steamed day and night. Pierce sold his claim on the riverboat. He used the money to buy lumber and nails. He rebuilt the laundry properly. New walls. New roof. A covered porch for drying. Susanna watched him work. His hands were strong. His focus was steady. She brought him water at midday. He drank and smiled.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Almost done.
It looks good.
It will last.
She believed him. The town grew. New families arrived. A schoolhouse went up near the church. A new general store opened. The sheriff position stayed empty for a while. Then a quiet man from Montana took the job. He was fair and hard to bribe. Calhoun's trial happened in Portland. The judge sentenced him to 10 years. His men scattered. Some left the territory. Some found honest work. The forged deeds were burned. The real ones returned to their owners. People remembered. They thanked Susanna when they saw her. She nodded and kept working. Pierce stayed. He had no reason to leave. The riverboat life was behind him. He liked the steady rhythm of land. The sound of hammers. The smell of sawdust. The feel of Susanna's hand and his at the end of the day. They ate dinner together every night. Sometimes at her place. Sometimes at the boarding house where he rented a room. They talked about the future. About expanding the laundry. About buying more land. About building a house. One evening they sat on the laundry porch and watched the bay. The water was calm. The sky was orange. A ship moved slowly toward the dock.
Do you miss it?
What?
The river. The boat.
Sometimes. But not enough to go back.
Why not?
Because you are here.
She smiled.
That is a good reason.
The only reason.
He took her hand. They sat in silence. The ship reached the dock. Men shouted and tied ropes. The world kept moving. They stayed still. Together. A month later they were married. The ceremony was small. The minister spoke. Susanna wore a blue dress. Pierce wore a new suit. They exchanged rings. Simple gold bands. No stones. No engraving. Just metal and promises. The town came to the reception. Tables were set up in front of the church. People brought food. Roasted chicken. Fresh bread. Apple pie. A fiddler played. Couples danced. Children ran between the tables. Susanna and Pierce danced twice. Then they sat and watched.
Happy? I see your warned and interesting she were tands off for some time, compared to less of the time. The war the wind stas but that 4 year in love corns. There were their love place, with a lust lots mark again.
Yes. You?
Yes.
That was all they needed to say. The sun set. Lanterns were lit. The music continued. They stayed until late. Then they walked home together. To the laundry. To their land. To their life. The building was dark. Pierce lit a lamp. The warm light filled the room. Susanna stood in the doorway and looked around. Everything was clean. Everything was hers. Theirs.
It is strange.
What is?
A year ago I had nothing. Now I have everything.
You fought for it.
We fought for it.
Yes, we did.
He pulled her close. She rested her head on his chest. His heartbeat was steady. She closed her eyes. The smell of soap and lye was faint in the air. The sound of the bay was soft through the open window. The lamp flickered. The night was quiet. They stood together in the small room and felt the weight of everything they had built. The land, the business, the love. It was real. It was solid. It was theirs. No one could take it. No one would try. Pierce kissed the top of her head.
Come on. Let us go to bed.
Yes.
They climbed the narrow stairs to the room above. The bed was simple. A quilt, 2 pillows, a window that looked out over the bay. They undressed in the lamplight. No words, just quiet movements. They lay down together. Susanna turned on her side. Pierce wrapped his arm around her. She felt safe, warm, loved.
Good night.
Good night.
The lamp burned low. The flame danced. Then it went out. The room was dark. The bay whispered against the shore. The stars turned overhead, and they slept. Together, in the home they had built, on the land they had saved, in the life they had earned. The storm was over. The future was theirs, and they would face it, side by side. Always. The first winter came early. Snow fell on the hills behind Prospect City. The bay froze at the edges. Ships came less often. Business slowed. But Susanna and Pierce had prepared. They had stocked wood, dried food, saved money. They worked together every day. She washed. He hauled water. They heated kettles over the stove. The work kept them warm. At night they sat by the fire. Pierce read aloud from newspapers. Susanna mended clothes. Sometimes they talked, sometimes they just sat. The silence was comfortable, easy. They had learned each other's rhythms, when to speak, when to stay quiet, when to touch, when to give space. One night in December, a knock came at the door. Pierce opened it. A man stood in the snow. He was young, maybe 20. His coat was thin. His face was red from cold.
Can I help you? I am looking for work. Any work. I can chop wood, haul water, anything.
Pierce looked back at Susanna. She nodded.
Come in. Warm up first.
The man stepped inside. He stood by the stove. Steam rose from his wet clothes. Susanna poured him coffee. He drank it fast.
What is your name?
Thomas. Thomas Reed.
Where are you from?
Montana. I came west, looking for work. But everything dried up. You have family? Not anymore.
Pierce looked at Susanna again. She gave a small nod.
You can stay in the shed out back. We will give you meals and a small wage. You work hard, and you stay out of trouble. Understood? Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you both.
Thomas worked hard. He chopped wood. He hauled barrels. He fixed the roof when shingles blew off. He never complained, never asked for more. At meals, he ate quietly. He thanked them every time. By spring, he had saved enough to move on. He found work on a fishing boat. Before he left, he shook Pierce's hand.
You saved my life. I will not forget it. Just keep going. Help someone else when you can. I will.
Thomas left. The snow melted. The bay thawed. Ships returned. Business picked up. More people came to Prospect City. The railroad pushed farther north. New buildings went up. A hotel. A general store. A second saloon. The town was growing. Changing. Susanna watched it all from the laundry porch. She felt proud. She had been part of that change. She had fought to stay. And she had won. One afternoon in April, a woman came to the door. She was older. Gray hair. Kind eyes. She carried a basket of apples.
I am Margaret. I run the boarding house on 3rd Street. I wanted to meet you. Susanna. Please come in.
They sat at the table. Margaret set down the basket.
I heard what you did. Standing up to Calhoun. That took courage. I had help. Still. Not many would have done it.
Susanna poured tea. They talked for an hour. About the town. About the weather. About life. Before Margaret left, she touched Susanna's hand.
If you ever need anything, you come find me. Thank you.
Margaret became a friend. She visited often. Sometimes other women came with her. They drank tea. They talked. They laughed. Susanna had never had friends like that before. It felt good. Warm. Real. Pierce noticed the change in her. She smiled more. She sang while she worked. One night he asked her about it.
You seem happy.
I am.
Good. You deserve it.
So do you.
I have it.
He kissed her. She kissed him back. The lamp burned low. The night was still. They went upstairs together. The bed was soft. The quilt was warm. They held each other. Outside the bay whispered. The stars shone. The world turned. And they were together. Summer came. The days grew long. The sun rose early and set late. The laundry was busy. Susanna hired a girl to help. Her name was Emily. She was 16. Strong. Quick. She learned fast. Susanna taught her how to scrub, how to rinse, how to press. Emily worked hard and never complained. At the end of each week, Susanna paid her. Emily saved every penny. One day, she asked Susanna a question.
How did you start this? I saved. I worked. I took a chance. Was it hard? Yes. But it was worth it. I want to do that. Someday. Then you will. Just keep saving. Keep working.
Emily nodded. She went back to work. Susanna watched her. She remembered herself at that age. Scared. Alone. Determined. She was glad she could help. Glad she could give someone else a chance. Pierce spent his days building. He had started a small freight business, hauling goods from the docks to the stores. It was hard work, but it paid well, and it kept him busy. At night, he came home tired. Susanna had dinner ready. They ate together. They talked about their days. They made plans. They dreamed. One evening, Pierce brought home a map. He spread it on the table.
Look at this.
Susanna leaned over. The map showed the coast. Prospect City was marked. So were other towns.
What am I looking at? The railroad. It is coming through here next year. That means more people, more business, more opportunity.
What are you thinking?
I want to expand. Buy another wagon. Hire a driver. Maybe 2.
That costs money.
I know. But I think we can do it. If we save. If we work together.
She looked at him. His eyes were bright, excited. She smiled.
Then let us do it.
They shook hands. Then they laughed. It was a joke, but it was also serious. They were partners. In business, in life, in everything. Fall came again. The leaves turned gold. The air grew cool. Pierce bought a second wagon. He hired a man named Cooper. Cooper was older, experienced. He knew the roads. He knew the work. The business grew. Pierce was gone more often. But he always came home. And when he did, Susanna was waiting. They fell into a rhythm. Work, rest, love, repeat. It was simple. It was good. It was theirs. One night in October, Pierce came home late. He looked tired, but he was smiling.
I have news.
What?
Cooper found a buyer for the old riverboat. The one I left in Portland.
How much?
Enough to buy a 3rd wagon. Maybe a small warehouse.
Susanna stood. She walked to him. She put her arms around him.
You are doing it. Building something real.
We are doing it.
Yes. We are.
They held each other. The fire crackled. The night was quiet. Outside, the wind blew. Leaves skittered across the porch. Winter was coming. But they were ready. Together they could face anything. Winter came hard that year. Snow fell early. The roads froze. Business slowed. Pierce and Susanna spent long evenings by the fire. They read. They talked. They planned. Cooper kept one wagon running. The other 2 sat covered in the yard. The laundry stayed open. Women still needed clean clothes. Children still got dirty. Susanna worked through the cold. Her hands cracked. She rubbed them with lard at night. Pierce wrapped them in cloth.
You work too hard.
So do you.
We are a pair then.
Yes. We are.
Christmas came. They invited Emily and Cooper for dinner. Susanna roasted a chicken. Pierce bought a bottle of whiskey. They ate. They drank. They sang old songs. It was warm. It was happy. It was family. Not blood, but chosen. That mattered more. In January, a letter arrived. It was from the railroad company. They wanted to hire Pierce to haul supplies for the new line. The pay was good. The work was steady. He read the letter twice. Then, he showed Susanna.
This is big.
I know.
What do you want to do?
I want to say yes. But it means I will be gone. Weeks at a time.
I can manage.
Are you sure?
Yes. This is your chance. Take it.
He looked at her.
You are incredible.
I know.
They laughed. He signed the contract. The work started in March. Pierce left with 2 wagons and Cooper. Susanna stayed behind. She ran the laundry. She kept the books. She managed the 3rd wagon. She hired another girl, a young widow named Mary. Mary was quiet. She worked hard. She never complained. The weeks passed. Pierce wrote letters. Susanna wrote back. They missed each other. But they understood. This was the cost of building something. Spring came. The snow melted. The roads opened. Business picked up. Pierce came home in April. He was thinner, browner, tired, but his eyes were bright. He brought money. More than they had ever seen.
The railroad paid well.
I see that.
We can buy the warehouse now. Maybe hire 2 more men.
Slow down. Rest first.
I will rest when I am dead.
Do not say that.
He pulled her close.
I am joking. I promise.
She held him.
I missed you.
I missed you too.
They stood in the kitchen. The sun came through the window. Everything smelled like soap and bread. It smelled like home. That summer they bought the warehouse. It was near the docks, big enough for 3 wagons, room to expand. Pierce hired 2 more men, young, strong, eager. The business grew. The laundry grew. Susanna hired a 3rd girl. The building was always full, always busy, always humming. One evening in August, they sat on the porch. The bay was calm. The sun was setting. Pierce reached for her hand.
Do you ever think about where we started?
Every day.
Do you regret anything?
No. You?
No.
They sat in silence. A ship moved across the water. Gulls called. The world was wide and beautiful. They had fought for their place in it. They had won, and they would keep winning. Together. September brought rain. The streets turned to mud. The laundry was busier than ever. Muddy clothes, wet boots. Everyone needed clean things. Susanna hired a 4th girl. The building was full from dawn to dusk. Steam rose from the wash tubs. The smell of lye and soap was constant. But it was good. It meant work. It meant money. It meant survival. Pierce was gone again. The railroad needed supplies moved before winter. He took all 3 wagons. Cooper led one team. The other 2 men led the others. Pierce rode between them. He was tired, but he pushed through. He had to. They all did. In October, a storm hit, the worst in years. Wind tore shingles from roofs. Rain flooded the streets. The bay churned. Waves crashed against the docks. Susanna gathered the girls inside. They waited. The storm lasted 3 days. When it finally passed, the town was a mess. Buildings damaged. Fences down. One of the docks collapsed. But the laundry stood. Strong. Solid. Pierce came home a week later. He looked exhausted. His coat was torn. His face was scratched.
What happened?
Tree fell. Blocked the road. We had to clear it. Took 2 days.
Are you hurt?
No. Just tired.
She led him inside. She made him sit. She brought hot water and clean bandages. She washed his face, his hands. He closed his eyes.
I am getting too old for this.
You are not old.
I feel old.
Rest. Then you will feel better.
He smiled.
You always know what to say.
That is my job.
She kissed his forehead. He fell asleep in the chair. She covered him with a blanket. Then she went back to work. That night, she lay awake. She thought about the future, about children. They had talked about it. But the work always came first. Maybe it was time. Maybe they were ready. She would talk to him when he woke, when he was rested. November was cold. The first snow came early. Business slowed, but it did not stop. People still needed clean clothes. Pierce stayed home more. He managed the warehouse. He fixed the wagons. He trained the new men. He was good at it. Patient. Firm. Fair. One evening, Susanna told him what she had been thinking.
I want a child.
He looked at her.
Now?
Yes. Now. We have built everything. The business. The home. The life. A child is the next step.
Are you sure?
Yes. Are you?
He thought for a moment. Then he nodded.
Yes. I am sure.
They held each other. The fire burned. The snow fell outside. The world was quiet. And they were ready. For the next chapter. For the future. For everything that came next. By spring, Susanna was pregnant. She felt sick in the mornings. But she kept working. The girls helped more. Pierce worried, but he trusted her. She knew her limits. She knew when to rest. The baby came in September. A girl. Healthy. Beautiful. They named her Rose, after Pierce's mother. Susanna held her in the small room above the laundry. Pierce sat beside them. He touched the baby's tiny hand. Her fingers wrapped around.
She is perfect.
Yes. She is.
You did this.
We did this.
He kissed Susanna. Then he kissed Rose. The baby made a small sound. Not quite a cry, just a murmur. Outside the bay was calm. The sun was setting. The sky was gold and pink. Everything they had fought for. Everything they had built. It was all here. In this room. In this moment. The laundry still ran. The warehouse still operated. The wagons still rolled. But none of it mattered as much as this. The three of them. Together. Pierce looked at Susanna. She looked tired. Happy. Complete.
Thank you.
For what?
For everything. For fighting. For staying. For believing.
You did the same.
We make a good team.
The best.
Rose yawned. Her eyes closed. She fell asleep in her mother's arms. Pierce put his arm around Susanna. She leaned against him. They sat in the fading light. The room was quiet, peaceful. Below them, the laundry was locked. The girls had gone home. The washtubs were empty. The water was still. Tomorrow, they would start again. The work would continue. The business would grow. But tonight, they rested. Tonight, they were just a family. A woman who had come west with one trunk and a secret. A man who had come to buy her land and stayed to build a life. And a baby who was the future of everything they had made. The storm was long past. The danger was gone. The land was theirs. The love was real. And they were home. Together. Always.